Hey, how you doing? I wanted to make a video talking about the midterm, the intra-term success of the left last night. Today is November 5th. It's a Wednesday, so the spate of elections took place on Tuesday. I just want to give my thoughts on this, and we'll see where we go with this. The major races, I think that, the notable races would be the West Virginia governorship flipped blue. The Virginia governorship went to some CIA lady who was wearing like a hood, a plastic see-through hood on her face during J6, protect her from biochemical attack or something. So, and then probably the most notable one would be the Zohran Mamdani victory in New York City. Cuomo had it to 42%. And Mamdani had it up somewhere in the 49% area, and then Curtis Silva, Shore about 7% off from Cuomo. And so the election tilted to Mamdani. And this is a sort of a wake-up call, really. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but the GOP's response to this, particularly J.D. Vance and I guess Vivek Ramaswamy, he is one of their main guys. Their response was something like, we need to focus on costs. Last night is telling us that we're not keeping costs low enough for Americans. And then Vivek was like, we need to get rid of this identity politics, sir. We need to not have that anymore. That's bad. And of course, well, what's happened with that, obviously, is that the civic nationalism of these guys has been utterly destroyed by identity politics. It was Mamdani who harnessed identity politics, going so far as to say basically that America shouldn't be an American city. It should belong to all these immigrants that have shown up to New York, and apparently they can vote with 2 days notice or something like this. So no voter ID, no citizenship required. And I've seen stuff from like people in Oregon who voted in the New York City election. So, yeah, I don't know all the ins and the outs on that. Obviously, Mamdani hates America. I'm hearing that he lied on his citizenship papers, and he's there to do one thing to New York City, which is to change its fundamental nature, its fundamental character. And, this is I wish I had some grand political prescription. I keep thinking on it, and I go, I don't see one. And one of the main reasons for this, anyway, from me, is that the public schools, the institutions, are pumping out so many leftists, so many people that have no interest in changing the state fundamentally. So many people, it's just in the nature of it too. Like if you're dependent on the government for your education, then are you going to get an education that rocks the boat at all? The answer is obviously no. So I put this out on Telegram yesterday that the public schools and the universities are churning out more leftists than influencers can turn. And this is why I don't really see how do we even put it? I don't see how the government is going to reverse this decline. I think that's the best way I could put it. The government is insolvent, and the way out of its insolvency is to inflate away the currency, which affects you and I, and there are golden geese that won't be touched at this point. It's just political suicide. And so nobody really wants to suffer. Nobody really wants to suffer economically. And because nobody wants to suffer economically, people are going to suffer physically, corporeally. So I do think that these GOP people are extremely weak. I've always thought this. I thought for a little point in time, I thought their minds could be changed. I remember trying to talk to Don Jr., and he came to some event in Montana, and it was like the lights weren't on. I mean, he was just glad handing people, and it's not that he owed me that attention or anything, but you would think along meritocratic lines that, well, if a person rose to prominence or something, that they would have some openness to better ideas, some way of cooking things differently, you know, getting a little bit of a chef's input. But yeah, that was a surprise to me at the time. And now, you know, now I'm totally disabused, and my naivete is totally gone away. And so you have no illusions at this point. But I went through that for a time. I thought, oh, well, we can appeal to the angels of our better nature. We can do this to people higher up on the ladder. That didn't work. And then I thought, okay, well, what if we just like run roughshod over these people and just impose a better way? And all I've seen is a bureaucracy crystallize, harden, and the gatekeeping has gotten just completely unreal in 2025. I'm not of the notion that the gatekeeping is becoming irrelevant. I think that the potency is for people who want to do something about this. The potency for them to do something about it through the government is dissipating. And this is largely a demographic question, and then it is a fertility question. And fertility is in a massive slump, and it's not reversing. So I really think the GOP is way too weak. I just tweeted that they're a husk waiting to be eaten from within. And I think we're pretty ripe in the United States for a left-wing, what would we call it, retaliation. And I don't really see that J.D. Vance is very strong. I think he has made some really bad bedfellows, and he accepts RNC messaging, which is rather foolish. It means I don't really think he's thinking for himself. I think he is enjoying the figurehead status that he's attained through the yes sir glad handing that he's done behind closed doors, and his willingness to do certain things, do certain favors for people. I think that's my speculation, but I think that's how he's attained his figurehead status. He's nice, fat, and happy with that status, and now it is a game of paying lip service to people to the right of him, and to play out the clock, and ultimately to gobble up the limelight in 2028 and play the successor. And it just ain't happening. I mean, the left is aggressive, and they're angry, and it's this thing too when people want welfare, and they get on the welfare, and then someone comes along and says that you diminished outcomes because people are disincentivized from the profit motive because people are disincentivized, their outcomes are reduced, and then they just become dependent on the welfare, and they're in the welfare trap, and they can never rise above a certain level. And so when someone comes along and tells them this is the fault of the billionaires, you need to have class consciousness, and let's tax the rich, let's take from the rich. Well, that plays on popular resentments, and of course the media is all programmed to spread resentment, and the institutions are all programmed to spread resentment, and so is this intense echo chamber. You know, I just posted this infograph on my Telegram showing this small variety of thought among the left, this close-in cluster of ideology, and then on the right is this large cluster. And, you know, in a way, you could look at it and go, well, the right is anti-fragile, and, you know, it's more legs under the stool to kick out, whereas the left, it's a one-trick pony. But it does mean that there is a potency, there is a homicidality rising on the left. There is a will to fight, and this is being born in opposition to Trump, the great evil Trump. And so they will see their day in the sun, and that will entail a lot of suffering for a lot of people. And we're likely, you know, some of these things that are being built under Trump, the keys can be handed over to leftists. Some of the surveillance, all of the surveillance technology, you know, is getting like permission. You know, it's getting permission from this false permission from the GOP, who are not really real Americans. You know, they're like Chamber of Commerce, GDP people. You know, they're getting this false permission to get in there and get entrenched, and then the keys are going to be handed over to some leftist who's going to be really angry, going to be really homicidal, and is going to do something about it. And Trump lost all his initiative, the mandate that he had through his election. And after with the Charlie Kirk assassination, he did not use any momentum from that, and just let his attention get gobbled up by Israel stuff. And that's always how it goes with these people. Their attention is always on Israel. Always, what are the tantrums over there? Who's upset, and which moneyed person is requiring more weapons and all this. And so his attention got gobbled up by that. And it's this result last night there's probably just going to be more of the same. This is really some of why I got out of politics. This zero-sum game with the right, like just nothing moving. And this idea that influence and notoriety and something can overcome hard math is I don't know where people's economic thinking is these days. I tend to just think firstly in economic terms, follow the money. So this idea that some sort of new ethos or something could displace raw economics, like sheer math, is I don't know about this. And my passions have led me elsewhere anyway, to philosophy, but we'll see. Feeling more game these days to comment on current events and a little bit of politics, but at the same time, I think what's coming is pretty nasty, and I think there's going to be a big informant network. I mean, there already is, and surely, yeah, I'm a target, obviously, and there's going to be a lot of friction between the poor and the rich, and the rich are going to let themselves be bled off for a while to come. I think the rich are not really going to wake up from their stupor for a while. I don't think it's going to be a quick turnover. And maybe there is some sort of movement to win over the hearts and minds of the elite going on in the United States, and that's probably for the best, because they do need to wake up. Like they built their backs off of a lot of willing participants. They built their money off the backs of these people. And that's going away. And so these people will need to protect themselves against this huge property grab, this huge property redistribution that is going to happen. I think, I don't hang my hat on prognostication, but I do think that J.D. Vance is going to underperform in the 2028 election. And the left is in a mad scramble to piece together some strong suitors for the American public. And there's not enough happening. All these red districts are sort of relying on marching orders from the RNC, and everything is getting rolled out really slowly. And Trump is old. Trump is an old man. He's a very old man at this point. And just because he's charismatic, and you just can't confuse it. He just doesn't have the vigor to impose the mandate that he was elected on. I didn't vote for him because I just saw this coming down the line. So, yeah, not a good result, but that's what you get when, what is it anymore? I mean, people under 30, they're just being wholesale captured by the left, and that has a lot to do with the moral quality of the people. It's gone down, and what has been permitted has been way outside of all reasonable bounds for generations now, and people have just accepted it. And once the boomers pass, it'll be a pretty difficult time, because at least they were kind of socially conservative, and they sort of corralled the money to themselves. But this means that everybody figured out, well, we can just corral the money to our own grievance class, and it'll be their weight will no longer be felt at the ballot box, and so there will be all this chaos. But there is a sort of rhyme and reason to the chaos, and it is very much to do with getting rid of old-time Americans and old-time Europeans and colonists and all these sons of the colonists and all this. So, I think we're headed for a tough time. I already thought that. I've been saying it for a long time, and the math is inevitable. And so I am kind of vindicated on that, saying the math is inevitable. I've been saying that since probably at least 2016, 2015. And people, I don't know, people want to get distracted with feats of the intellect and cleverness and all this. People just don't want to respect the laws of economics. And so we get away from the actual things we need to do to look out for ourselves. And so my main suggestion at this point would be to just, this whole Charlie Kirk thing was a real bellwether, and anybody who is celebrating his death has a good bit of homicidality stored up in them. And the moment they have some leverage through the state, they'll use it on the targets that they have been focused on for a very long time. So the best way to protect yourself is to not keep leftists in your personal life. And it's that age-old argument from Molyneux, the against me argument. You know, I've ascribed to that for a very long time. I think the original presentation on that was like in 2011 or 2012. So yeah, that always made sense to me. Would you use the state against me? And if the person says yes, then you don't want to have anything to do with them, because they're not looking to reason. They may toy with you for a little bit and put on airs, like put on the pretense that they have some sort of logic, but it's just a lot of rage and a lot of envy at this point. And if the economy was doing better, I mean, if Trump hadn't gotten so sidelined with Israel stuff, and what is he even doing? I mean, what does he even do? He just does like diplomacy stuff. If he were more willing to get aggressive about these problems and more aggressive with getting people out of the labor force that drag the labor force down, then maybe we'd be in a different position today. But he's losing his base, and J.D. Vance isn't going to shore it up. So, yeah, it's a tough result. I think for anybody that loves decency and civilization, and all the leftists are cackling and enjoying. Now the midterm stuff is loaded. It was loaded toward the elections, and the slate of elections was loaded in the Democrats' favor. So there is that, and I don't know if it'll be quite the shellacking next time. But I'm not counting on these GOP people. I'm not counting on these RNC people to do anything for me. I've seen a lot of mealy-mouthedness. I've seen a lot of political correctness, even on the local county level. And it's just drifting. It's an institutional drift. And people are just willing to run to welfare to shore up their reduced outcomes economically. So you hate to see it, but it's a reality. It's just what people want right now. And it's a very low moral quality going about. So anyway, maybe I'll get something else over to you today. It's been an interesting last 24 hours. And yeah, maybe I'll do like an X review or something for you. That's my take on these. What are they? The midterms? They're not quite midterms. I don't know what the hell they are. I don't even care anymore. Just get lefties out of your life. Get to the lifeboats. Don't play the tough guy. Don't play the tough guy. I think that's important. Just such a thing as foolhardiness, and a lot of people want to play the tough guy. And look, I don't like what's going on, and I feel strong. You know, I feel strong, and I have my moral certainty. But it's a tidal wave. It's a tidal wave. Don't stand in the way of a tidal wave. See what you can do, and get the informants out of your personal life. Very good. That's it from me. Maybe I'll get something. Maybe I'll get another video up today. I appreciate you being with me. See ya.